Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and Bitcoin has just experienced a major breakout to the upside, and we're getting extremely close to the Bitcoin all-time high. Bitcoin has also just broken above some very important resistance, and this sets up some major price targets to the upside that we need to pay attention to. This video is an important one to watch, so make sure you're watching all the way to the end so that you're not missing out on any of this valuable information. And just before we jump into it, make sure to drop a like on the video down below, and if you're new to the channel, you might as well subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. It's right here on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 4-hour time frame. And as you can see, we finally completed that inverse head and shoulders pattern that I was telling you about yesterday. In fact, if you watched my last Bitcoin update video that I posted yesterday on the channel, you would know that I was saying yesterday that we were in a deciding moment for Bitcoin. And I basically said if Bitcoin continues up towards this area just here, towards this line, then that is how you know that Bitcoin is deciding to go down the bullish path, because obviously by doing that, Bitcoin did end up completing this inverse head and shoulders pattern, which I let you know immediately the moment we finally completed this pattern, and we we're getting ready for a major break to the upside with this real-time update over on my Twitter. So definitely make sure you're following me over on my Twitter if you haven't already. The link to my official Twitter account is in the description down below and also in the pinned comment. And by simply following me over on my Twitter, which obviously costs absolutely nothing, you're going to be getting all of these extra updates throughout the day in real time. But anyway, now that Bitcoin has broken out of this bullish pattern, this is of course setting up a bullish price target to pay attention to, which I did mention yesterday as well. But for any new viewer on the channel, this is coming in at around $70,000 per Bitcoin, which by the way, from the current price of Bitcoin to that price target is still a 6% move. But if you watched my video yesterday and took this trade right at this neckline, then from the point of the breakout to that price target, that was a total of around a 9% move, which is definitely not a bad gain for us Bitcoin holders. The final point of resistance that Bitcoin needs to jump over before making it towards 70,000 is simply the all-time high, coming in at approximately $67,000. And Bitcoin got very close to the all-time high. In fact, around 0.5% away from the Bitcoin all-time high with this recent move to the upside, which means the all-time high level is still acting as resistance, obviously. But once again, the moment we can get above that all-time high, then I'm immediately targeting towards $70,000. But even though Bitcoin hasn't broken into a new all-time high, at least just yet, Bitcoin has finally broken above this very important range of resistance that has been holding down the Bitcoin price for the last 2 weeks. And so now that Bitcoin is above this range of resistance, this is now acting as support, which is obviously a very bullish sign for Bitcoin moving forward. And it further confirms the direction that Bitcoin is deciding to go. But with that being said, just taking a look at the price oscillators on the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, what we can see first of all in the RSI is the fact that we've just reached into overbought territories, which basically just means in the immediate short term, Bitcoin is overheated. Now, it's worth mentioning that Bitcoin can stay overheated for quite some time, especially in a bull market. But just looking back on the chart, the last few times that we reached overbought areas on the 4-hour RSI was back here, for example, at the previous all-time high for Bitcoin. And the time before that was back here when Bitcoin first ran into this range of resistance, and we had a little bit of a sideways consolidation after that. And the time before that was back here towards the beginning of October, just after Bitcoin had a very bullish move. And then we had a little bit of a sideways consolidation before the continuation of this trend to the upside. So basically, if Bitcoin sees any sort of consolidation at around the current prices before breaking out into a new all-time high, that would be perfectly normal, and I would not be surprised if we see something like that. But with that being said, looking in the MACD on the 4-hour time frame, we are still looking very bullish. Obviously, we had that bullish cross right here, basically at this exact bottom, and that was telling us that we are due for another move to the upside, and that's exactly what we've seen so far. And right now, we're not really that close to seeing another bearish cross in the 4-hour MACD. Obviously, we'll have one eventually, but right now we're still looking really good here. Now zooming out to the daily time frame for Bitcoin, and this chart just here is extremely bullish, because everything about the daily chart right now and all of these indicators is setting us up for a huge move to the upside. And in fact, this is the 3rd time in a row that we've seen exactly this play out for Bitcoin. Those of you that have been subscribed for a few days on the channel now would already know what I'm talking about, because I covered this a couple days ago on the channel. But for any new viewers out there, I'll quickly go over it again. Basically, what we can see here in the daily time frame is of course a bullish move to the upside, and then we slightly broke into a new all-time high, which by the way, that's what this white line is just here. That was the previous all-time high for Bitcoin at around 65,000, just below 65k, and we set that all-time high back in April. So we briefly broke above the all-time high, but obviously that turned into a bit more of a rejection here, because at that time the daily RSI was already overbought. We were overheated and due for a bit of a pullback, and that's exactly what we saw here in the daily RSI. RSI, we had a nice pullback towards the middle of this range. And looking in the daily MACD, we had a bearish cross right here as we started to pull back to the downside. And right now, the bullish cross in the daily MACD is absolutely imminent. As in, within the next 1 to 2 days max, it's very likely we're going to see a bullish cross for as long as the Bitcoin price remains at around the current price levels at the time of filming this video. And on top of all of that, we've got the Bollinger Bands squeezing together like this, which shows us that a huge move is coming soon. So keep all of that in mind. And now we're going to zoom out on the charts and go back to the last major all-time high breakout for Bitcoin on the daily time frame. And that was this area just here at the end of 2020. And by the way, this white line just here, that was the previous all-time high for Bitcoin that we set back at the end of 2017 at just underneath 20,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. So zooming into the point where we finally broke above that all-time high, that was right here once again at the end of 2020. And if you look at what happened here, as you can see, Bitcoin had a very bullish move up towards the all-time high. But at that stage, as we were approaching the all-time high, the Bitcoin RSI on the daily time frame was overbought. We were overheated and we were due for a pullback down towards the middle of the RSI band. And at that stage, we also saw a small bearish cross in the daily MACD, having a bit of a cool off as well. And looking here in the Bollinger Bands on the daily charts, of course, we saw a squeeze here as well. And also, if we're zooming in a little bit further, what we can see here is the fact that Bitcoin actually did break above the all-time high for a very brief period of time before having a further rejection to the downside and then breaking above the all-time high later on. You can see just here that Bitcoin briefly broke above that previous all-time high with these quick wicks above the all-time high, but obviously that wasn't the confirmed break that we were looking for. But when we finally saw the confirmed break into a new all-time high, that was after we saw a squeeze in the Bollinger Bands once again, after we saw a cool off in the price oscillators. And at that stage right there where Bitcoin was starting to approach the all-time high level and getting ready for a major break to the upside, the daily MACD was getting ready for a major bullish cross. And so once again, we are seeing all of those exact same signs right now in the Bitcoin daily time frame. And this is certainly not the only time in Bitcoin's history where we've seen this play out, because if I zoom out even further on the Bitcoin chart and going back to the last major all-time high breakout, which was during 2017, and this white line just here, this previous all-time high, we set that back in the end of 2013 at around 1,200 US dollars. And just zooming into the point where we finally broke into a brand new all-time high for Bitcoin. First of all, Bitcoin had a very bullish move to the upside right into the all-time high level, and we briefly broke above the all-time high, but obviously that was not the breakout that we were looking for, and that turned into a rejection to the downside, which led into a cool off in the RSI and a cool off in the MACD, which is exactly what we needed to give us more room to the upside later on. And then we saw a bullish cross in the daily MACD as we were starting to approach the Bitcoin all-time high again. And at that stage, the RSI on the daily time frame was not yet in overbought territories, which means that we had more room to the upside. And also looking in the Bollinger Bands, we were having a huge squeeze in the Bollinger Bands, which was telling us that we were due for a major move to the upside. And you can see what happened next for Bitcoin. Now going back to the present day, this price action is not anything new. We've seen this play out time and time again throughout the years in Bitcoin. So right now on the daily charts, talking about the trend over the next few months, potentially, I am extremely bullish on Bitcoin. And personally, I have been using any short-term pullback like this as a buying opportunity to get in at cheaper prices before we continue on this daily uptrend. And looking at some major price targets to the upside, of course, we've got that initial resistance coming in at the all-time high at around 67,000. So technically, that's the first short-term price target to the upside. And then above the all-time high, we had that inverse head and shoulders pattern giving us a price target at around 70,000 US dollars. But here on the daily chart, we have this huge cup and handle pattern, which by the way, for the beginners out there, is a bullish pattern. And we've already formed this pattern and we've already seen the breakout to the upside, but we have not met the price target just yet because the price target is coming in at around 79,000 US dollars, nearly 80,000, which by the way, from the current Bitcoin price to that price target is still another 20% gain. But for any of you that have been watching my Bitcoin update videos over the past few months, I was talking about this huge cup and handle pattern and that huge bullish price target all the way back here towards the beginning of October, back when Bitcoin was at around 50,000. And at that stage when Bitcoin was at 50,000 and I was sharing this major bullish price target to the upside, I got a lot of comments saying that I'm going to be wrong and saying that I'm way too bullish. And at that stage just there when Bitcoin was at around 50,000, I remember a lot of bears calling for $10,000 to $20,000 per Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, if we're in an uptrend and a huge bullish pattern is forming, then it's simply logical to be bullish on the Bitcoin price. And so that's exactly what I am right now, and I'm still very bullish on the daily time frame. With that being said, obviously we can always have short-term cool-offs, that's to be expected. But in terms of the trends that we are in, there's no denying that we are in a bullish trend. And also for any of the new viewers on the channel that don't already know, less than a week ago, I officially launched my first ever trading course, my technical analysis course, which by the way, you'll find a link to that in the description down below. It will be the first link in the description down below. And over here, I take you from a complete beginner, someone that's just starting out, up to the point where you're seeing the charts exactly how I see them. And I cover everything from understanding support and resistance, how to spot trends in the market, how to find and confirm chart patterns, and how to trade chart patterns with over 15 different examples. I also cover the importance of indicators and how to trade using indicators with 9 different examples. And I cover candlestick analysis, risk management, and so much more. So if you're serious about making a lot of money in the crypto markets, or if you simply just want to learn more high quality technical analysis from myself, then feel free to at least check this out in the first link in the description. And if you enjoyed this video or got something valuable out of it, be sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. Right now, the Crypto World channel is growing like crazy, and I can't thank you guys enough. Seriously, I appreciate all of your support. We're definitely still on track to hitting 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year, which is such a crazy milestone for the channel, and you can help out by simply checking if you're subscribed down below. And for the new viewers on the channel, before you click off, make sure you check out one of these uploads if you haven't already. I've got a Bybit tutorial video, which is one of the top platforms that I use to trade Bitcoin, and I've got a passive income video showing you how I earn passive income every day in the crypto markets. But anyway, that is really everything I have to say for this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.